Alright guys, let's start with the topic that I promised. What are the necessary modifications for long trips? In this live stream I'm going to talk about the necessary modifications, everything that I plan to tell you works and helps travel with more comfort and safety. The usual stuff: hard panniers, tall windscreen, crash guards, auxiliary lights, navigation unit, better seat, cruise control if you don't have it, wrist supports and many more are something that I won't really recommend. Nikolai, good, just got back from weekend trip. Excellent, Nikolai, excellent. So in my opinion, all of the usual stuff that you'll hear from many travelers, I already listed, like necessary things. Most of these things are not necessary at all, and in my opinion, everything or every modification that you have to make on your motorcycle needs to be customized exactly for you. So as usual, I cannot give you a clear answer. This will work 100% and so, because everything needs to be customized exactly for you. So don't listen anyone. Find what is must or what is necessary for you and do it. The idea of all modifications is to help you ride your motorcycle much more easier. If any of the modifications cannot help you in this direction, you don't really need it. So following this logic, you have to focus on the main 5 things that you have on your motorcycle, or the 5 aspects that modifications need to improve. Number 1 is comfort, number 2 is protection, number 3 is performance, number 4 is easy maintenance, number 5 is luggage, and number 6 is security. So ask yourself, will it help in any of these? If not, don't do it or don't need it. This is what I'm talking about. If the modifications cannot help you in any of these 6 points, that is mean that you don't really need these modifications. They will be just extra weight or money for nothing, or another feature or some things that you will add on your motorcycle that don't really need, and on some stage there might be a problem, or I don't know, at least there will be dead weight on your motorcycle. So once again, comfort, protection, performance, easy maintenance, luggage and security. These are the things that you have to focus on when you make modifications. So let's now see them with more details. I'll start with comfort. When I say comfort, everyone immediately remember or imagine a better seat, right? So it is true that the seat is something very important and will provide the necessary comfort that you need to travel for many hours. But I'm here to tell you that the seat is actually not that important. There are many more things that you can do on the ergonomics of your motorcycle that will help you way better than the seat itself. Because even if you choose the most expensive and comfortable seat, after a few hours of ride, it will be not so comfortable. As I said in many of other streams, if you sit on the perfect sofa and watching TV at home, even if you have very fat sofa with a nice cushions and everything, after a few hours your ass will need change. So it is the same with the motorcycle seat. Even if you have the most comfortable seat, it will last just that long, and that's it. After that you have to switch the position or stand up or do something, because there is no perfect seat. But many more things that you can do around the ergonomics of your motorcycle might help you a lot, or the adjustments that you can do on your motorcycle. So this is on the topic of the seat. We're gonna come back to this a little bit later again. But the next one that I highly recommend to do, this is something that I highly recommend to do, and that I'm sure that you will thank me once on one stage. This is the modification that is so underrated, and many people just don't even think about it, but it is so important, and maybe it's the number 1 modification that I will recommend to everyone, to every motorcycle traveler. And this is heated grips. Heated grips are like a whole new world. When you have it, you will ride in decent comfort all the time. It doesn't matter how cold it is, or rain or windy days or whatever. You can use the heated grips even in the summer. On all of my motorcycles I always had it, and every time when the temperature is below 20 degrees, I use it. I like to ride with light summer gloves, not in the cold winter days, but when it's spring or autumn, I always like to ride with light summer gloves, and if I don't have heated grips, it is impossible. So you need to have fat winter gloves, otherwise your fingers will freeze. But the heated grips, I can afford to have light gloves to have more sensible, to feel the motorcycle way better, the clutch and the throttle, and still ride in comfort. So heated grips is something that I recommend without any doubts. If you don't have it, install it immediately. They don't cost that much. Usually a good brand like Oxford will cost you like 100 euros. And maybe you'll pay another 50 euros for someone to install it for you. Even though it's not difficult, you can do it by yourself. So for 150 euros in total, you'll have such a comfortable gadget on your motorcycle that you will use for many years, and every time when you turn it on, you'll be happy. You'll have a smile on your face. The next one in terms of comfort, it's a windscreen, tall windscreen. Many people will say that it is a must. I personally don't see it that way. If you're very tall, maybe you'll need a different windscreen, but most of the new motorcycles, especially so-called adventure type of motorcycles, they come with some kind of windscreen. It will be a problem if you don't have it at all. Then you definitely need to have some kind of windscreen. But if you have windscreen on your motorcycle, even the stock windscreen, in most of the cases will be just enough. If you want to have more wind protection, then you can think about maybe a taller version of it, or maybe a deflector on the top. But most of these things are not necessary. They are good to have, but they are not necessary. And from my experience, I have tried tall windscreen, I have tried different deflectors. They all works, but not exactly perfect. So it's always something that you need to add. And if you start to go in this direction, let's have now a taller windscreen, maybe another deflector on the top, maybe a different deflectors on the sides, and then you have so many things on your motorcycle and the whole dashboard will vibrate like that all the time. So I'm not really a fan of this, and now because I film my videos, I don't have even a tall screen because it will block the view of my camera. So your situation might be different, but try it first how it is, and if it's not so big change, just forget about it. At the end, it is normal to have some wind in your chest and in your helmet because you're on a motorcycle. If you don't want any wind, just take your car. But a windscreen, high windscreen or tall windscreen, it's definitely not a must. Heated grips are a must, but tall windscreen, no. Seat is not a must. It's good to have, but it's not a must. So now we have a different priorities, if I can say it this way. Then the next one in terms of comfort is going to be the location of your navigation units. It doesn't matter what you're going to use, your telephone or proper GPS unit. It is very important to have a proper location which is on the top of your dashboard. This will be very important for your comfort. I discussed it many times even on these streams that if your GPS is located on the handlebar, for example, down there or somewhere left and right, it will be all day like that. All day like that. And it's one story that you're gonna have this movement all the time, but it is also dangerous because you'll be distracted from the road and everything what is on the road. So if you are able to mount it on the top of your dashboard, you'll be able to see it, and at the same time your peripheral view won't be blocked, and you'll be able to see everything, and it will help you a lot in terms of your comfort because you don't need to move your head all the time. And it might sound like nothing now when we're talking here, but when you spend 8, 9, 10, 12 hours every day riding, do exactly the same, then you'll understand what I'm talking about. That's why the location of the navigation unit is very, very important. I've seen people have navigation and 2 different telephones. I think that this is too much. One navigation unit or one telephone, it's more than enough. because the more things you have on your dashboard, the more things you will have to distract yourself from the important things, which is the traffic in front of you. But this is my opinion. So in terms of comfort, as I said just a few minutes ago, it is worth it first to make some adjustments on your motorcycle before you decided even to change the seat, because things like different foot pegs or different handlebar, maybe different mirrors, or the proper position of the brake and clutch levers will make miracles in terms of comfort. So before you decided to buy anything and make any modifications, try with adjustments, because they cost you nothing. They will cost you just a few minutes from your time, but you'll be able to see, do you really need anything else, or you need just a proper adjustment of your motorcycle. Okay, this is about comfort. Let's now move to number 2, which is protection. Protection is very important, and many people start buying accessories like crash guards, hand guards, bush plates for their motorcycles before they even get the motorcycles. So I'm not saying that this is bad. It is good to have some kind of protection on your motorcycle, but first you really need to decide what exactly you need, because not every model is the same. So for example, if you have GS 1200, 1250 or 1300, it is a must to have engine guards or cylinder head guards, because without them, in the case you drop the motorcycle even on the traffic light, you might damage the cylinder heads, and this will cost you a lot. But if you have a motorcycle like my Tenere, this model or the old model, the crash guards actually are not really needed, because even if you drop the motorcycle, it won't break anything. So that's why it is good to have some protection, but first you have to know what exactly you need for your model. And when you decided to buy it, to buy the best possible that you can afford, the lighter that you can afford. And it's very important to see how exactly it's mounted, because during the years I have seen so many different variations of crash guards, and some of them are so stupidly mounted, they have no logic at all, and they will cause more damages than actual protection if the motorcycle is dropped on the side, or even on the traffic light. I'm not going to discuss even if you have an accident and you went down on speed, then they will be totally smashed. But it's important to find the right brand, right model, with the right mounting points. They should have at least 3 mounting points, because if you have a rail that is mounted with 2 points, just like that on your motorcycle on the side, this means that every time when it's pressed this or that way, it will bend and cause more damages than real protection. That's why you need 3 support points minimum and really tough pipes. The problem is that if you have very thick and tough pipes, they will be heavy, but it is what it is. It is good to have crash guards, but first of all you need to know, do you really need it on your motorcycle, and then to find the right brand. On my Tenere, as you know, or maybe you don't, when I bought it, I did not buy, they were sent to me a lower crash guards from heavy duty Romania. I installed it on the motorcycle and I really like them. I like them because they were not even noticeable. On the bottom, they provided the necessary protection that I needed on my water pump and the pipes on the water pump, and that's why I mount them. But later, when I decided to change the bush plate, they were not suitable for these bush plates, and I need to remove it. So I removed it and installed the top crash guards, the high crash guards, or the tank crash guards that are sell for the Tenere, and I did not like them at all. So I mount them because I couldn't mount the lower crash guards. I mounted the higher crash guards, but I did not like them at all. Every time when I was looking on the motorcycle, it was looking like a cage. I just don't like them. And it was not that long that I hold them and finally removed it. And even though that they were only 5 kilograms, when I removed it, I immediately felt it. So every time when I was riding the motorcycle, I actually feel this weight. And when I remove it, it was like, poof, brand new motorcycle. So I'm not going to install it again. Yes, I understand that in some situations, in specific situations, these crash guards might help. But I also know that in many situations, they were just not needed. That's why I said it's very important to understand, do you really need a crash guard? A bush plate, it's another story. It's similar and not similar at the same time, because if you don't plan any getting out of the roads, on the normal asphalt roads, you don't really need it. But if you plan some dirt tracks here and there, some adventure trips, or maybe possible hard off-road terrains, you will definitely need some kind of protection. Usually the stock protection of these motorcycles, it's not very tough. For example, the Tenere got like a very light, like 2 millimeters aluminum crash bush plate. Now I have like almost 4 millimeters aluminum bush plate. It is like a 1 kilogram heavier than the stock, but it provides much better protection even on the water pump. That's why sometimes it's good to have it, not always, but in many situations it's good to have it. So in terms of protection, definitely bush plate, maybe it's a 90% sure that you're gonna need it. Crash guards, not for everyone, but it is good to have it. Bush plate, and now we get to another point, which is hand guards. Hand guards are something very useful, and hand guards I will recommend to have it definitely, because they have a multi-purposes. First, they will protect you from the rain, from the cold. When you have heated grips in combination with hand guards, so proper hand guards with a big plastic here and metal frames, they will protect your hands from the wind, from the rain, from the cold days, and also will provide the necessary protection on your clutch and brake lever. So every time when you drop the motorcycle, you're not gonna break them because you have these proper hand guards. But when they are proper hand guards, when you have them only from plastic, they have two purposes, to help you, to protect you from wind and rain, and maybe from branches if you go into the bush. But when they have a metal frame, then we have another one purpose, which is like a bonus. So each one of your things that you install on your motorcycle, or the modifications that you make on your motorcycle, it's good if they have many purposes, to help you with many purposes as the hand guards. That's why it's so important to have it. And when we're on the topic to add things on your motorcycle, I have another one that is very important, but I couldn't find a proper location in which category to mount it exactly. That's why I'm gonna have it here in terms of protection, even though it's not protection. This is the center stand. Center stand, it's something very useful, very practical, and every motorcycle traveler should have it. It weighs usually 3-4 to 5 kilograms and will add this additional weight on your motorcycle. But the good news is that it will be added on the lower of your motorcycle, the most lower part of your motorcycle, and it is not going to change so badly the center of gravity. I will say that it won't change it at all. It will raise your overall weight, but you're not gonna feel it while you ride. And the center stand, I don't need to discuss with you how important it is. Every time when you load your motorcycle, unload your motorcycle, when you have a flat tire, when you try to fix something on the road, or any more other different situations where you're gonna need a center stand. So it's like a necessary weight that you should have on your motorcycle. So we discussed comfort, protection, and now we go to the next one, which is performance. Performance on the motorcycle. And the first thing that comes to my mind, and I don't know why so many people don't even think about it, this is some changes or some modifications on the suspension of the motorcycle. Now, for example, on my Tenere, I have made, I just changed the springs of my forks and the spring of my shock absorber. So this modification cost me altogether 200 euros, not cheap, but not that much. And the difference that it makes cost like 2,000 euros, if I can say it this way. So it was so different, the motorcycle became like a different motorcycle just like that for 200 euros. So I cannot understand why some people are happy to buy so many different useless, pointless things to make their motorcycles like a Christmas trees with everything that they have seen in AliExpress, but they don't even think about some things like to upgrade their suspension. Because most of the travelers or most of the people that got motorcycles, they never worried about the suspension. They never pay enough attention on it until they ride a motorcycle with good suspension. Then they will realize how bad their suspension is. So when you're a heavy guy like me and sit on a very soft suspension, you actually compress it so badly that even if the motorcycle is started with a suspension travel 200 millimeters, when I sat on it, it became like 100 millimeters. So that badly is because you compress it at all. So to have a proper suspension is very important because it's not only about your comfort, but it is also about your safety. When you have a proper suspension, the tires will be always in a nice proper line with the surface, with the asphalt or off-road or dirt roads, whatever you are, and will provide the necessary traction and will keep you straight and help you to ride it much more easy and comfortable. So suspension is something that, especially if you're a heavy guy and you have a lot of luggage and you travel many kilometers or you have some off-road sections in your trips, definitely something that you have to look on it. So I will consider it like a important modification that will help you a lot. Suspension will also help you so much with comfort. Number one that we discussed, comfort. So suspension will help you much more with the comfort than any other things that I already discussed in the category of comfort. So in terms of performance, definitely better suspension. Another one modification that I will discuss now is the exhaust. It is not necessary in any way, but for many motorcycles, like my Tenere for example, it's very good if you make this exhaust modification. Because, as you know, Tenere got a big cone. If you drop it on the right hand side, the exhaust actually bent the exhaust bracket, and if you bend it a few times, you might break it. So it's a poor design from the beginning. Maybe they will change it in the future, but for now it is like that. So the modification with the exhaust really helps to avoid this problem on the road, and you actually forget about it. So I forgot about my exhaust since I changed it, since I made this modification. So for me it was like a necessary modification, and that's why I consider it like a good. It's also another story that when you have a different exhaust, maybe you will improve the performance of the motorcycle a little bit. If you use it with a combination with open exhaust, you'll improve it at all. But I will consider it like a exhaust modification on my Tenere was necessary or maybe important, but it's not going to be that important for other motorcycles. So the stock exhausts of many brands and models are just fine. It was also fine on the Tenere, except the moment with a bending bracket. And the next one in terms of performance, the next modification is open filters. And they are not necessary in any way, but they will definitely improve a little bit the performance of the motorcycle. Not only this, but as I said before, it will have another purpose also to help you with easy maintenance. I'm gonna come to this, it is number 4, maintenance, but again, open filter got two purposes. First is to improve a little bit the breathing on the motorcycle or the performance of the engine. In combination with a different exhaust, it will give you maybe 2-3 horsepower. It might sound not like a lot, but it's better than nothing. And also this open filter or Cayenne filter or any kind of washable filter will help you with easy maintenance when you come to this point later on your trip, somewhere on the trip or whatever you decided to do. So number 3, performance, better suspension, exhaust if necessary, open filter, it also helps with maintenance. Number 4 is easy maintenance. So all modifications that will help you with easy maintenance, I will consider it like a necessary, because if you plan long trips, more than 5,000-10,000 kilometers, you know that every 5 or 10,000 kilometers you have to change your oil, you have to check your filter. Maybe after 20,000 kilometers you have to check your spark plugs or stuff like that. So any modification in this direction, I will consider it like a necessary. And some of them does not cost so much. Number 1, I already discussed it. This is open filter, because open filter will help you to remove the filter, wash it, clean it, lube it, and install it again. You don't need to have another spare filter with you, and you can do this procedure many times during your trip, especially if you're riding in some dusty or sandy conditions. So this will help you to the overall maintenance of the motorcycle. The next one is regarding the oil changes. Some models like the old KTM 990, for example, got very difficult procedure to change the oil because it's with a wet sump, and the valve of the one of the sumps was under the tanks. So every time when you need to change the oil, you have to remove one of the tanks. That's why that's why many owners of the old 990 Adventure installed a very small modification, which is basically like a small pipe that extend the main valve of the oil, and just drag it a little bit under the tank. So when you need to change your oil, you don't need to remove the tank. It's a simple modification, costs almost nothing, but helps in terms of maintenance. So because every motorcycle is different, I cannot tell you what exactly is for you, but you can find out by just doing the maintenance or the proper oil change and everything that you do by yourself. You'll understand what you need or what you don't need in terms of oil changes. Another one, very simple and cheap modification that you can do and will help you also with maintenance, is to have a different spare clutch cable. As I always do it on my motorcycle, I just run another spare cable on my clutch. Even though my clutch cable is fine, I have another one already set on the same position, rerouted under the tank, and in the case of situation of if the cable cut for some reason, I can change it for just 10 minutes and continue riding. It will save me a lot of maintenance time. That's why I have it. And many other specific things that are specific, once again, for every motorcycle, for every brand and model. They have some important moments. You can discuss it in local forums or with your mechanic, or some things that will help you with easy maintenance. It might be to check the valves, or to remove the spark plugs, or anything that will help you in this direction. It's important. Sounds breaking up. I'm really sorry about it. Ogi, is everyone like Ogi? How is the audio? Ah, cracking. Okay. Pete, I'm really sorry about it. Maybe it's a problem with the internet at the moment. I don't really know what it is. I hope it will be alright. How it is now? 1, 2, 3, 4. Test 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, this was about the easy maintenance. Let's now go to the last point, number 5. Oh no, it's not the last, number 5, and there is another one, number 6. Number 5 is luggage. In my opinion, you know my opinion, less is always better. But all modifications that you have to make on your motorcycles on the category luggage, they have to be made with the idea to carry less luggage. So if the modifications requires to have another additional luggage rack, this is mean that it will add more kilograms on your motorcycle. You'll be able to hang hard panniers or top box. All of this is going in another direction, more luggage. But if you always try to modify your motorcycle to the direction less luggage, then you understand that many things you don't need it. For example, if you remove your rack, your luggage racks, that means you have to carry less luggage, and this modification will remove a lot of weight from your motorcycle. I hope that you understand. So all modifications that you make in the category luggage always need to be with the idea to carry less luggage. So if you have a big and heavy metal luggage plate on the tail of your motorcycle and you don't carry anything on it, my advice is just remove it. It's a dead weight over there that you don't need it. And once again, it's good to have these multi-purpose things, as I said before. So everything that you add on your motorcycle need to have multi-purposes. This will save you weight, effort, money, anything. And also, when we're talking about luggage, you have to think about many secret locations on your motorcycle. And when I say secret location, they are not exactly secret. You're not going to hide anything inside. But in many motorcycles, you can find different compartments or locations where you can have, for example, cables, spare tube, or maybe your brake pads, or many things that usually you carry in your luggage. But if you find a specific places on your motorcycle, these things are not going to be in your luggage, and you'll be able to save weight, or at least this weight is going to be on your motorcycle all the time, not in your luggage, and this will help you when you travel. For example, I keep all of my tools, spare brake pads, and many more things like this. They stay always on the motorcycle. I found a specific locations and I keep them there. So now I'm on the way, just about to find a new location for spare tubes. On the side panels on my Tenere, I can hide 2 tubes. Not exactly like that. I need to make a small modifications. I need to weld a small plastic protections, otherwise they will touch the radiator. But I'm gonna do these modifications. They will cost me nothing, and I will be able to keep 2 tubes inside on the side panels of my Tenere. And this is what I'm talking about. Any modifications in this direction will be just practical. And the last one, in terms of security, it's only one that I can point you right now, because I use disc lock. And disc lock location is very important, because usually the disc locks are heavy. They weigh like 150-200 grams, and you have to carry them somewhere. I don't want to carry this lock always in my luggage, because it is heavy. And if I'm not with the luggage, I'm not gonna have protection. So I always want to have this loose disc lock with me. I don't want to carry the lock in my pocket, because it is heavy. That's why I found a proper position on my motorcycle. Before that, I always kept them on the rear side on one of the passenger packs. But during the years, and when you travel in muddy conditions, all of this mud going over it. So I actually lost it on the way back from Magadan. I don't know why. The bracket breaks or unbolt or whatever is happening, but I lost it. And now I have another disc lock, and because I don't want to lose it again, I tried to find another location. And actually I mounted on the rear side of my luggage plate. It was sitting on the tail of my motorcycle, like that. And I was thinking that it's a good location. It was on the tail of the motorcycle. Yeah, it's heavy, but it's not that heavy to disturb the balance of the motorcycle. But then my friend and mechanic Plamen came to home, and when he saw it, he said, hey, it's a good location, but if you have an accident and you move accidentally on the rear side, you slide on the seat like that, this bolt or this disc lock at the end might break some of your bones if you slide on it. And I said, man, I never thought about it. And I changed the position, and now I mounted between my forks, the forks of my Tenere. Between the forks, there were bolts that are usually made to have a high fender. I made a bracket there and I mounted there. So now I have another position for the disc lock, which is very good. Does not make any problems. I do not feel the weight of it. So it's another point that you have to find exactly for your motorcycle what works and what not. And anything else that you can find on AliExpress, as I said, guys, it is just AliExpress is not your friend. The more time you spend on there, the more money you're gonna spend, and the more useless and pointless things you're gonna buy for your motorcycle. And most of these things are very poorly made, bad quality, and you don't really need it. So keep your motorcycle as stock as possible, add as less as possible things on your motorcycle, make as less as possible modifications, and make sure that the modifications that you have already made or decided to do are really necessary and they have multi-purposes and they are proven that they works. Or you will, as I said, you will waste your time and money, and you will make your motorcycle heavy and pointless and useless. That's it. I have nothing more to say on this topic. I hope that you still hear my voice and the video is alright. Now, if you have any questions or if you want to add any information on this topic, please do it so. I'll be happy to read it. Power socket. Yes, I forgot about power socket. Thank you very much, Richard. Yes, one power socket is definitely something that you should have, even if you don't use it. Now, the moment on my Tenere stock, it comes with one power socket. I don't use it, I don't charge anything on it, but it's a good option to have in the case you need to charge something. Your telephone or your GPS, you definitely need to have at least one power socket, at least one. Make sure that it is properly made, going through the fuses, and it is off when you turn off the engine, otherwise you might drain your battery. Okay, what is your thoughts on lights on motorcycles, extra lighting? I thought to talk about it and I forgot, but now I'm gonna tell you. I don't like these auxiliary lights unless you travel during the night or you spending many hours commuting during the dark part of the day. I will advise to stay away from it. Many reasons. The main reason is because when they are not stock, they are not properly made for your motorcycle and you might have a problem. Even if you read it properly, their descriptions and their stats and specs and everything, you still might have a problem because maybe your motorcycle is not designed for them. This is the first reason. The second reason is that to have them, you have to cut some cables, you have to add some fuses, you have to add additional wires in your motorcycle. And every time when you touch your electric system, you actually compromise it. It's not a good idea. And the third reason is that because they don't really provide the lights that you might need, and they provide some kind of fake light. They are not properly made. Even if you have a nice model which provides a lot of light, that means that a lot of light might be good for you, but might blind the people on the opposite traffic. So why I'm saying it's provide this fake light, because usually these spotlights, the light is like that, like a big circle around you. But the most important things that you need to see while you ride on the dark is just in front of you, and they never focus it properly. And in my opinion, if you really need to ride in the dark, just slow down and you'll be alright with the stock light. But on the other hand, if your stock light is very bad, you might need to have some auxiliary light. But if your stock light is very bad, this means that your stator is not designed to carry such a good light, and the auxiliary lights won't help you much, if you understand what I mean. Okay, Pete, standard exhausts, they're usually quiet and I don't disturb neighbors any longer. I agree. The stock exhausts, stock exhausts are usually very good solution. I never worried about it until now, the situation with the Tenere, and even so, as I said, it's something that it's good to have, but it is not necessary in any way. You're welcome, Ogi. Richard, radiator guard and fender extender. Fender extender is very useful. I also forgot about it. You cannot remember everything. I always had it, and now I have it now at the moment again, because fender extender will protect my engine and the radiator to be clogged from a lot of mud and a lot of bugs and a lot of stuff while you ride. Now, for example, on the last part before Magadan, the muddy part, when I was riding with this Russian guy, Pavel, with a KLR, the KLR is with a high mudguard. My Tenere is with a lower fender with a fender extension. So at the end, when we went to Magadan, his radiator was so clogged with mud, and he was needed to stop 2-3 times to clean it because of the mud, because the motorcycle was overheating. And my radiator was fine because of the fender, low fender, and mudguard. So it definitely helps and costs nothing. About the radiator guard, I'm not really sure about it. Depends on the model. The stock radiator guards of my Tenere are plastics. They are very big. They have very big gaps, and they are just like a plastic, like that. Just not like that, just like that, on different angles. So they provide enough airflow, but at the same time they provide protection in the case something went directly into radiator. So these are fine, but I have seen so many different like aluminum or metal radiator guards, like plates with a small holes on it. First of all, if you have so many small holes, you will block, let's say, 20 or 30% of the surface of your radiator, and the motorcycle might overheat. Also, these small holes are easy to clog with mud, and then it will be way worse than if you have an accident with a radiator. So I'm yes for the radiator guards, but they need to be properly designed, otherwise they might make you a bad favor. I hope that you understood what I mean. Yeah, okay, good. Any more questions, guys? Or some other information to add here on the topic, or maybe different topic, it doesn't matter. Cover for security. Cover for security is definitely something that helps. I don't take it because it takes a lot of space, but it's definitely a good option because, you know, we have this word in Bulgaria, cat never eat the milk that is covered. But yeah, it's good for security. But definitely need to have something, and the modifications that you can make are also very important. You can make some handmade modifications in terms of security. Let's say, for example, to remove your clutch or whatever, anything that will help your motorcycle to be protected or to prevent motorcycle to be stolen. It's a good modification in this direction. Alright guys, I think I'm gonna end the stream here. Thank you very much for the support. I'm really sorry about the disturbing that you had with the audio. This is something that I cannot control from my end. When the internet is good, it's good. When it's not, it's not. Really sorry about it. See you next week, next Sunday, which will be 26th of May. I don't know the topic yet, but I'm sure that we're gonna find something else. Thank you very much once again for the support, and see you next time. Ciao.